I'm the mentor today. We've got this really sharp, intelligent, bright man on the show. And
oh, stop! Joe. I already know how you feel about me.
And you know, he's here. I'm positive because he's looking for some mentorship from me. I'm sure that's why he's on the show. You understand that, don't you? So, all right, I just ruined your reputation, Josh. So let me.
Well, you set the bar way too high, Joe. There's no way we're going to be able to fulfill that now.
Josh Dobi is here with us. He's actually here. Because he has his own show on WSIC, and I asked if he could come on the show and we could kind of talk a little bit about that. I know Josh from a community leader. You are the chairman of the Lake Norman Chamber. Mm-hmm. You are the who's who of any kind of political person in the world, in the area. Excuse me. Okay. You either do the finances, or you're the campaign manager, or you're doing something for the. So Matt, if you want to know who's who, or you want to be connected, Josh is the person that you absolutely want to get to know. And Josh owns a company called North Main Financial Group. I got that right, Josh?
Got it. Yep.
And just a really sharp guy.
Can I address the elephant in the room is how beautiful this man's voice is? Now, if I didn't know better, I'd say he needs a show on Saturdays at noon.
That's not a bad idea, man. I may have to take you up on that.
My gosh, I get goosebumps.
Well, actually,
it makes me want to talk lower.
Not only is he sexy, but he's like really smart too.
All right. Joe.
I said to our engineer, I said, people are going to think I sucked a balloon of helium before I walk in here when they hear this guy's voice. Josh at noon, that's awesome.
And Josh, you used to be a professional or a semi-professional. Didn't you try out for a particular sports team or something? Did I hear that? Something?
Joe,
give me a little background on that.
Yeah, I don't want to make it sound nearly that glamorous.
Do it,
because I'm not.
You could fool us and we wouldn't know the difference.
Well, somebody's probably listening who actually observed this happening so many years ago. Yeah, who actually knows the truth. No, the tiny little college where I went to college had open tryouts with the local professional team. And it really, I think, was more of a courtesy, because we happened to be located relatively close to where this professional football team was. And so I got a chance to be in the same room as a sharp-looking guy with a very impressive stopwatch and a sharp-looking golf shirt with the team logo on it. And he took measurements and took times, and I think just smirked and smiled and thanked us for our time, and he was on his way, and we never heard from him again.
Imagine how good the Jets would have been if.
You think the Jets have suffered to this point? If they had gone my direction, it'd been even worse. My goodness.
Well, I say that, buddy, because it's obviously that you are physically fit. And you're impressing my co-host here today. No. So try and tone it down just a little bit, okay? You know, right. keep us in the same ballpark.
Get out. All right, I'm trying to keep up. Go ahead.
So let's do this, buddy.
Yep.
Before we dig into North Main Financial Group and your radio show, my listeners like to know about the person. So kind of talk a little bit about how we got here, buddy.
Sure. From very modest beginnings to start way back when. Joe, I've been in this business for about 23 years now. I literally started in the business when I was in college, and that very inglorious football career that we're talking about, and thinking about what I wanted to do after college, I thought, well, why not just hop in as a 19-year-old and get started in the investment management and financial planning and financial services business, probably out of just pure ignorance that I thought that any 65-year-old would want to have a 19-year-old managing their life savings.
Right.
So I wasn't smart enough to know that, and probably too stubborn to listen anyhow. And I got started then very, very modestly, started out on my own, and as an independent financial advisor. So I was never connected with any of the larger firms, which, frankly, in retrospect, and as I'm speaking with other folks, especially interns that we have in the office, I recommend that they do. Because that's just an excellent way for folks to get up to speed, to get their licenses, to understand the business. I didn't do that, so my curve was much more modest in terms of professional growth. But 23 years later, I can say that I'm glad that I did. But it certainly was a slow road getting there.
It's funny you say that, because I also, like you, started at a very young age. I opened up my first restaurant when I was 20, 21 years old. And I tell people, much as I loved being called this young, successful business guy, it was a mistake. It cost me so much money to learn what I didn't know that I wish I would have learned it on somebody else's dime. So don't be in a hurry. For those out there that are listening, don't be in a hurry. Take your time. There's plenty of time to be on your own and do your own thing. It's interesting that you say that because I absolutely believe that.
Well, you and I lived through the crucible of experience. And,
Yes.
and that, if you get to the other side and you still have your wits about you, you can say that's a good thing.
Right.
But as you know, Joe, from other folks who have been on this show and from your professional experience, that can also just cook you. I mean, you can literally get to a space where you go a completely different direction because it is so lonely. It is so intense. So I would amplify what you said there. If you're thinking about this business, if you're wanting to get into it, or perhaps family members that you know, children who may want to take a look at it, definitely get connected with some folks who have been around for a long time and can give you some good insight on it.
So walk me through why you wanted to be independent, right? Because I can't imagine all of the information that you have to constantly stay on top of, especially in this day and age. Yeah. And you would think a larger association would give you some of that value and that sort of stuff. So why an independent for you?
Yeah, the independence aspect of things, Joe, really has to do with a personal bias and desire on my part, so that we can, from our perspective, and you'll hear this theme mentioned a couple of times here this morning from me, so that we can meet our clients at their point of need. And I have my own biases, as anybody in this business does, but we want to be completely independent so that for our particular client needs, we can go to where they are. We don't necessarily have to give them a template that we're mandated to give them because we're part of a larger organization. That doesn't make those larger organizations bad. As you mentioned, from a resource standpoint, they blow it out of the park. I mean, they simply have ease of access points that for someone who's on the independent side, it's much more expensive to have those access points. They're doing it on scale. And so that's a big challenge, but we decided that independence was more important so that, again, depending upon where each individual client or prospective client is, we can meet them at that point of need and tailor something which is unique to them.
So Josh, why am I going to you, right? I mean, I probably know 50 financial planners, right?
At least.
How do I measure you guys? You know, why Josh over somebody else?
Well, I'm going to say something that Matt said a few moments ago earlier in the show relative to the fictitious magic wand. We don't have one. we don't have that widget that nobody else has. Joe, you raise a great point.
Josh, not everybody can be Matt. You understand?
Oh, come on.
Well, I know that, so that's why I'm moving further away from here. No,
Thank God.
It's not true that we have some magic wand or some magic widget which is so different from the 50 or 500 or 5,000 other financial advisors with whom we may have some understanding or awareness. We seek to meet our folks at their point of need. We think that makes us unique because we're independent. And again, it's not necessarily that nobody else does this, but we take a very proactive approach to understand intimately where our clients are. And that includes holistically. That's not just, okay, where's your 401k, where are your insurances, what kind of investment management have you been doing to this point, but truly trying to understand the entire person. Because when you do that, when you understand where they've been and the kinds of things that they're seeing and the kinds of things that are coloring their experiences, you can make a much more informed decision about the kinds of things that would work best for them. I mean, we're going through that right now. I mean, there's been a lot of negative volatility in the stock market. And sometimes folks say, well, I want to be very aggressive in what I'm doing. Well, they usually do on the upside. And then the other side happens, and sometimes there's a reevaluation of that. So I think from our standpoint, again, understanding truly who they are, listening to what they're saying, yes, but also truly understanding the full parameter of their personality, again, gives us a unique advantage.
I tell people all the time in small business, I calculate risk all the time, right? And when people tell me, yeah, I'm aggressive, you know what? I don't want to hear that.
Sure.
The only way you know what your risk tolerance is after you lose a little bit.
There you go.
And then you can decide, am I okay with that or no, man, I lost 3 days worth of sleep because of that $5. I can remember talking to a buddy of mine who was a preacher, and I was all upset because this is back when Citigroup or whatever filed for bankruptcy,
yes.
blah, 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 and I had some money with him, and I'm talking, he's listening, we're smoking a cigar. Probably 45 minutes later, he said, wow, man, did you have a lot in there? I said, probably about $700. He said, $700? And to me,
sure.
It was a personal choice of $700,
right. Right.
And it wasn't until he said that I realized I'm done with this. I'm not going to worry about that anymore.
Joe, you smoke $700 worth of cigars a year. Come on.
That's about what he said. Yeah, right. So okay, so Josh, let's Let's move on.
Sure.
Let's fast forward this.
Absolutely.
You changed the name of your company. You were Josh Dobi Financial Group, right?
That's correct. That's
then you changed it to North Main Financial Group. Why the change? What? Because obviously there's a reason for that.
Sure. It's actually something that I had wanted to do for a number of years. And when you have your name on the sign from a familiarity standpoint, Joe, as you know, it's great for brand recognition so that folks can obviously link the name of the organization directly to us and to me. But as we have continued to expand, and we've done a notable amount of expansion, not only internally but geographically within the last year, I thought it was a good time to go ahead and pull that trigger. So we chose the name North Main Financial Group, and you'll appreciate this, after a whole lot of strategic thought and paying some very intelligent folks to think about what would be a good branding idea. We literally took the name of the street on which our office is located. And
there's some large banks that have done that same thing, buddy.
And it was it really came down to something as simple as that.
I was on the edge of my seat, man. You tricked me.
Nothing more glamorous than that, Matt. So
you tricked me.
So again, we wanted something that showed again an evolution and expansion of size. But if you'll notice, our logos are almost identical to what they were with Dobi Financial Group, and that was for our current folks to understand that continuity remained. So yes, we have a new name. Yes, we're expanding a little bit geographically, but relative to our client base, we wanted them to feel the same experience they had before so that there was as little disruption as possible.
I'll tell you this, Josh. I know some of your clients, and you and I have known each other for a while, and if I had to tell somebody why I would choose Josh, it is honor, intelligence, and integrity. You absolutely have been that guy in our area for many years. It's why when somebody's running for office and character matters, they're tapping the shoulder of Josh and asking Josh to be a part of their campaign, buddy. So it is just an honor to have you around. And I tell people all the time, once you sit in that chair, I get to call you my friend, whether you accept it or not. So.
Well, I appreciate that. That's a big deal.
That's why Joe has so many friends.
Let's talk a little bit about the people you have chosen to be a part of your association, because they seem to be of the same caliber as you. So you going out finding these people is just impressive. I'm scrolling on your website and I'm seeing this cat from West Point, and I'm thinking, all right, man, that's pretty cool. Yeah. So where do you find these people from?
Well, frankly, Joe, it's taken me 23 years to get it right, and I mean that almost literally. As you know, as a small business owner, one of the most challenging things that we have to do is the hiring and firing aspect of things, and finding people not only who are good at what they do, but also who, frankly, mesh well with us. And I've probably made every mistake that you can make relative to the employment aspect of things. Whether I was looking for a particular skill set, whether I was looking for someone of again a particular experience level, and frankly, I'm at the point now where I'm looking for just good people. And when you talk about Deaton, who you see on our website there. He's just salt of the earth, hard-working guy up there in Hickory, North Carolina, and he's doing it right. You know, and sometimes the way that we describe it, Joe, we're looking to hit singles every day.
Right.
You know, we're not looking to hit home runs, and we tell our folks that, look, don't have an unnatural expectation here. We're gonna work hard and we're gonna do it right, but we're literally looking to hit singles every day. If you're looking for the home run guy, probably should go somewhere else. If you're looking for that hot stock tip, you're looking for that magic wand that Matt talked about, or that widget, we're probably not your people. But we are going to work our hardest every day to hit singles, whether the market's up, the market's down, or market's sideways.
So we've only got a few minutes, and I want to talk about your show. What does the perfect profile client for you look like? What is that person? If they're listening right now, what does that client look like?
I love that question, and our prospective clients ask us that with some regularity as well, obviously because they're wanting to determine if they fit with who we are. And one of the first things that I talk about, as I mentioned, I started in this business when I was 19 years old. We don't have what are sometimes in this business called minimums. Sometimes, and there's nothing wrong with that inherently.
My $700.
You're a prospective client. You're a prospective client. Sign that guy up. And because a lot of advisors do, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. But what I decided years ago, was to say that we were not going to look at relationships based on balance sheets. We were going to say that if there is a likability between us, if there's a trust level between us, and if you have a professional need that fits in with what we do, That's a relationship.
How many small business people do you work with?
Oh, goodness. Dozens. Rather than try to quantify it, dozens. And it's everybody from the stay-at-home business who may have a business on Etsy, for example. Maybe it's a stay-at-home mom who has a business on Etsy, to employers that have upwards of 50, 75 folks.
So those of you that want to listen to and gather great information from a man of honor and integrity and somebody that I and a lot of people in the community absolutely respect, Josh Dobi is the man to consider listening to his brand new show that he's got.
Yes.
And what is the name of your show?
Well, again, we talked with a lot of intelligent folks, and we came down to a very scientific name of the North Main Financial Show.
There you go.
So, again, pretty straightforward, but no, thanks, Joe, for that. We're Saturdays at noon here on WSIC, and we're talking about, obviously, things financial, but we're talking about it from a holistic standpoint. As I mentioned, one of the driving things at North Main Financial that we attempt to do is to meet folks at their point of need. So we talk about it in a very personal way. You know, sometimes when you're talking about financial or insurance kinds of things, it's easy to doze off, and it gets pretty static in terms of its likability. But we try to make it on a very personal level, and we listen to folks too. Folks write in, tell us the kinds of subjects that they would like to hear from us on the show. So Saturdays at noon here on WSIC, the North Main Financial Show.
Great. And if somebody wanted to reach you, my friend, so you could protect their $712,
yes, sir.
How could they do that?
Absolutely. Online, you can reach us at northmainfinancial.com. That's north like the direction, Main like the street, financial.com. Also, our office number at our offices there in Cornelia is 704-987-1425. Again, 704-987-1425.
See, he's already an expert because he did that
He did that twice.
I was hoping I could correct him, and I couldn't even correct him on that.
Man.
Josh.
Joe, I've been listening to you for a long time, so I know how to do it.
Thank you, my friend. I really
Thank you.
What I'd like you to do, because you are now a professional, you understand. You are now a broadcaster. Why don't you hang around and be part of our next interview? If you got the time to do that, that'd be great.
I'd enjoy that a lot, Joe. Thank you.